Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is another episode in the flight attendant series. I feel like all my other videos are like about all the things I hated about my job, and I do see how that's not helpful at all for anyone who wants to be in this career. And I just want to make this statement. I am in no way like a flight attendant basher, and I do not want everyone to quit their job and, you know, like not go into this career. I just have to be honest and like genuine in my experience, but I know so many people who love this job and it's so for them, and I'm so happy for them. So I decided that I'm gonna make a couple videos on how I got the job in the first place, right? Because there was a moment in time where I clearly wanted to be a flight attendant. So I'm going to show you how I got the job and my experience on in training, as well as like finding my way after, you know, training and getting placed in another state that I didn't actually live in and all that stuff. So this is going to be part one to a three-part series, basically of so let me get my thoughts together. So part one is going to be how I got the job. So that's like the biggest thing, right? How did I even get hired? That process, what does that look like? And then two is going to be how I got through training, because training is 7 weeks for Delta, and it was a lot, and I wasn't prepared. And so I wanted to make a video about that. That's going to be part two. And then part three is going to be how to manage once you get through training and you get to your base, and how life sort of changes for you drastically, in my opinion, when you become a full-time flight attendant. So welcome to part one of this series. If there's something that I'm missing while you're watching this video, please comment down below. I want to give you guys all the information I possibly can while it's still fresh in my mind, because, you know, in a couple months I'll probably be doing something else, and I don't want to leave the great information that I have inside of me and not give it and not share with someone who might really need it. And I know this is someone's dream job, so if you're really excited, please like this video. This is going to be an important series for me to share, because I know how many people are excited about this career. So if you are interested, please keep watching, because all the information starts right now. Woo, 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 woo. Gotta stop doing weird things. Okay, so straight off the bat, I'm going to talk about how I got hired, right? So for me, when I decided I wanted to become a flight attendant, I was mad hype, you know, I wanted to travel. So the first thing I did was I got a passport. I know that a lot of people might be watching this video like, girl, if you have a passport, like, what are you talking about? But you would not imagine how many people message me, email me, ask me what's the first step, does the airline pay for your passport, yada yada yada. I don't know what other airlines do, but all I know is if you want to be a flight attendant, you should probably have your passport. And if you have a passport, you should probably make sure it's not going to expire in the next 4 years. That is super important. So I, boom, went and got my passport, and then I applied online. I'm not sure why people think there's like this secret realm or kingdom to become an airline, become a part of an airline, or like get hired. Literally, this is a job, people. So how you apply for other jobs is exactly how you apply for this job. I typed in delta.com. I went and looked at careers, and under careers was flight attendant. It was really that simple. I didn't get an email. You know, I didn't get referred, because a lot of people do get referred. None of that happened. I literally Googled and I applied on delta.com. From my memory, when I applied online, it was like a standard, you know, application that I had to submit. Basically, I think I had to answer a few questions and things like that. I'm not sure how it looks now, but I had to do that. And then what I remember is the second step, because I think there was about 4 steps before I actually was flown out into an in-person interview. So the first step was the online application. Then the second step, I believe there was a questionnaire that I had to fill out, and it was pretty long. In the questionnaire, it asks you questions that are like specifically customer service based. And this is a big thing that I want you guys to remember, is that being a flight attendant is all about customer service. And you do not have to have a degree. You do not have to have this amazing job history. They're really looking for people who want and understand great customer service. Because at the end of the day, that's what you're providing. On these 5 to 8 hour flights, you're providing endless customer service, getting blankets and drinks and, you know, making sure that people are fed and people are not getting sick and that people, you know, are comfortable on their trip. This is all customer service based. And so, not to get too far off from where we're at, for the questionnaire, it was a lot of questions like, oh my goodness, what were some of the questions? They were like, I don't know, let me just make up one. Was there ever, or what would be your reaction if you saw someone stealing? Or what is a moment where you went above and beyond at your job? Blah, 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 things like this. And I feel like a lot of times people miss out on getting these jobs because you're overthinking the question and not understanding that for these questions, they're really looking for people who understand that the customer is their main focus, right? So if a person is tired or hungry, we are the people who are the face of the airline, and we're representing the values of the airline. And so it's important for us to be selfless and to also anticipate the people's needs. And that's a big thing to keep in mind when you're answering these questions, is as a representative of whatever airline you're vying to get a job at, what would be the best reaction to an emergency or someone being rude on a flight? How do you handle that situation? A lot of these things are about making the right judgment calls in that situation, because we don't necessarily have a boss or like a manager in the air with us. It's really us. So when you're answering these questions, it's so much based on like you and having leadership skills, customer service experience, and knowing how to make the right judgment calls. I hope that makes sense. So the second thing was a questionnaire. Third thing was like a video interview. And so this had me most nervous because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be on camera awkwardly staring at another person on camera. Weird. That's not what happened at all. For the video interview, it was literally a prompt that came, and there was a question like, oh, say that you found out, this was like an example of a question. Say that you found out one of your, okay, here it goes. So say this was one of the examples on the video interview. They would put a question up, so you would read the question first by pushing play, and the question would be like, hey, what would you do in a situation where you saw one of your colleagues stealing? How would you react, and what would be your first response? And then once you're ready to answer, you would push record, and it would record you giving your answer. So if it was me getting asked a question, I would read the question. What would you do if you saw one of your colleagues stealing at work? What would be your first response? I would take a second, okay. I would push record and then I would answer. If I saw one of my colleagues stealing at work, I would first address them, because I think it's important to have clear communication with those you work with. If I saw this behavior continuing, I would then have to tell the person that I would then be alerting our higher ups or our managers, because this is something that was concerning to me, but I would first and foremost discuss it with the person. And then you would end the question and submit it. And literally that's the entire video interview. Different scenarios and questions in which they're looking for, again, customer service. They're looking for, again, people who can give their best judgment on situations. You know, this is not like an SAT quiz or things like that. It's about real life situations that do happen. People do steal. Emergencies do happen. How are you going to respond? And so I would say my biggest advice for all of these steps are to remember, if you're talking out loud about your job experience, to give stories. There is a difference between answering a question that is posed of, say someone asks like, what is one time you went above and beyond for a customer? Okay, here's two examples, and I'm gonna have you guys tell me which ones the best. 1, I always go above and beyond for people. You know, I just think that the best thing I can do is to anticipate their needs and to really just be helpful and professional. Submit. Or choice 2, you know, when I used to work in customer service at a bank, there used to be an older gentleman by the name of Harry, and Mr. Harry would come in every Wednesday, and we knew that he was going to deposit the same amount of money, so we would have his deposit slip filled out, and we would ask him if he needed any extra help and make sure he was escorted to the right teller, because we knew that it was hard for him to walk. He actually came in with a cane, and so we tried to make it as easy as possible every single day that we saw him, and every single weekday he came in, because that's what I believe is so special about my job, is that I can meet the customer's needs. And you know, like, you really want to engage whoever ends up watching your interview, and you know, they want to feel like you're a real person. You know, like, they want to feel like if something were to happen, you would be responsible and able enough to handle it. Okay, not to be rambling. Hopefully that was helpful. If that was helpful, please like this video right now. If that was helpful, please comment. Girl, you are helping me right now. Please let me know, guys, because I'm doing a series for you guys. I really want everyone to reach their full potential. I know how big of a dream job this is for some people, and I really want to see you in your dream. So if this was helpful, please, please, please comment down below hashtag girl, you're helping me get to my dream. Or you can just hashtag dream. So just hashtag dream. But anyway, so after the video interview, I was then contacted like maybe a month later that they were going to fly me out to Atlanta, and that I was going to do a face-to-face interview. Now, I will say that the time between when I applied and when I did the face-to-face, it was maybe at least 2 or 3 months had passed. So I will say to be extremely patient, because this is not like, at least for me, it wasn't, and a lot of my friends, actually, it took longer for them. Their process was a lot longer. Some people I know didn't hear back for a year. The process can be long, and so don't get discouraged or think, oh, they didn't like me, or oh, blah, blah. It's a lot of applicants, like thousands and thousands of people, and you know, they're really searching for the right team, and so it does sometimes take a long time, and it does sometimes take more than one time, but stay encouraged and keep fighting. And so they had told me they were going to fly me out to Atlanta. I was so excited. I told my dad, you know, and he was like, you know, you already have the job. They just want to see you in person. He's so encouraging. So I flew out from Philadelphia to Atlanta that morning. The interview was, I don't even know if it was like 10 or 11. There were about 35 people at the interview. And when we walked in, we were all sitting down and talking to each other, you know, nervous. I had printed out my resume just in case and put it in a folder. They didn't really ask you to bring anything, but you know, you want to be professional, you want to be on time. I will also go through, I will make, or rather dedicate, an entire video to how to dress for an airline interview if you guys are interested. So if you are, just comment down below and I'll make like a whole style video, because that was tough for me, like finding the right clothes, because I was gonna come in there, girl, I was gonna come in there cute with like some heels and all of this, and I didn't even, for my first outfit, I didn't even have me wearing stockings. And then my friend was like, what are you thinking? Like, don't wear high heels, wear stockings, wear these short heels. And I was just like completely thrown off. So if you guys want me to make a full video, please comment down below. Girl, make a how to dress for an interview video, and I will. I got you. So anyway, arriving at the interview, there were a bunch of us. They separated us in groups, and so we went from in the first group, I introduced myself. They asked us to introduce yourself and to tell like something interesting about you. So I said, you know, my name is Renee Bull and I live in Delaware, and I'm really focused on my nonprofit, which is called Girls to Girls, which aims to empower girls from age 8 to 15 to set realistic goals for themselves and how to achieve it. And so that was my little spiel, and that's about as much as I talked until the end of the day where we were given face-to-face interviews with a hiring person and an HR person. So I was in a room by myself. It was me sitting here, and then there was a person here and a person there, just kind of like looking at me and asking me questions, right? So I wasn't really nervous because I have a pageant background, so interview really helped me a lot. So I don't get too nervous when I interview. I get more so just focus on what I want them to know about me. And the questions, again, were like very similar to the questions on the video. You know, how would you handle working with a team member that you didn't get along with? How would you handle an emergency? How would you handle someone who was stealing or being rude? How would you approach that situation? And so I feel like after the interview, I was hopeful because I felt like I did a good job and I felt confident that I answered the questions correctly. But again, you never know, like, you never know what they're looking for, and I hadn't realized until I got to the interview that some of the people I was interviewing alongside of had been here, you know, 3 or 4 times. Like, they had interviewed numerous times and never got it. And so after all the interviews, we all came out to like a common space, and they were talking to us, and I remember them, like, they started calling people's names, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, I hope I got the job. And they called my name. They put us in a separate room, and then they let us know, like, you know, hey, we want to offer you guys the job. And so that was my story. But I know a lot of people who actually didn't get called into the room, and then later on they got followed up with via email saying they got the job or things like that. So I would say if you have interviewed and that didn't happen for you, that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Every company hires different. I know the hiring process right now for Delta is different than when I was hired. I don't have any problem, you know, with sharing my experience because this job wasn't for me. But I hope that what I'm saying will help someone else who really wants this job. And if you have interviewed, don't get discouraged. I know people who I flew with who had interviewed 4 times before they finally got all the way through and got that yes. And it really just depends on the person. If you interview with someone and they're not feeling you or things like that, right? We're all human. So you could really have had a great interview, and it just, maybe that person was having a bad day, or they just really didn't, you know, feel like you were ready or something like that. That does not mean that this job isn't for you. You know, this was my experience. I will say that after I got hired, it was a couple of months before I started training. And so I didn't, like, once I left Atlanta, because I left that night, I went in that morning and I left that night to come back to Philadelphia. And they had told us, like, you know, don't quit your job or anything until you hear back. Sorry, I had eczema. Don't quit your job or anything until you hear back, because of course we don't want you, you know, jobless. And so it was a couple months before I heard back from, you know, them saying we're going to start training in May, blah, blah, blah. And I think that I had gone, I'm pretty sure, when did I go? I think I had went in for my face-to-face in, like, was it February? No. I'm trying to think. It was in 2016. I can't remember what month it was. I could probably look for the emails. But it was a couple months in between. So I would say the biggest thing with this, you know, career is being patient. There are a lot of things that you're just not in control of. And the faster you learn to be patient and go with the flow, the happier you're going to be in this career field. I promise you. You have to be really fluid and really flexible and really just able to adapt to anything and everything. And if you're one of those people who want structure and want answers and want everything to be da-da-da-da, this is gonna really shake you up a bit, and it's gonna challenge you, but it's not impossible. Please comment down below if I didn't answer any of your questions. The second video is going to be about how I made it through training and what that was like. And I'm excited to share that experience as well. I feel like life is all about giving back to other people. What you've experienced is not oftentimes for you, but maybe for someone else coming up behind you. And I feel like with YouTube, I can share with you guys, you know, all of the tips and tricks, and just, you know, like encourage you to continue on your journey. I feel like the job gave me what I needed, and I would love if any of the information that I'm giving you helps you get a job, or, you know, just helps put things in perspective for you. Like, please comment down below. I really want to hear from you guys. I really hope this is helpful. Like, I'm only making this because I think it's helpful. If it's not helpful, please be like, girl, this is not helpful. Talk about this, this, and this. And I will. I'm actually working on putting together like a very small webinar where I help like look at people's resumes and help them where I look at people's resume and I help them really dive into how to secure a career in the airline industry. This is going to be a really small like webinar for 30 people. So if you are interested, please let me know. Email me, because it'll be the first 30 people that'll be submitted, and then we'll kind of go from there. But I'm really interested in helping people get to their dream in life, because I feel like I'm fighting for mine, and I want to help you guys fight for yours. So I hope this video was helpful. You know, it's been a little while. It's been 2 years, so, you know, things have changed, but I feel like a lot of the process is still the same, and what they're looking for is still the same. And so, you guys, this is the end of the video. Please stay blessed. Don't stress. You're way too cute for that. And I will see you guys on the next video. Like, comment, and subscribe. It does help me so, so much as I'm trying to build my channel and reach more people. Peace and love. Thanks for watching.